You're listening to the Legion of Reason.
Okay, we are live, and this is the Legion of Reason diversion, and we are coming to you from Alberta, Canada. This is, I guess, what's the date today? It's May 22nd, yes, for this Monday, this holiday Monday in Canada. Sorry, you poor suckers in down south. We have a whole...
I think they... Ooh.
What? Was that?
I think in the South, I thought they had a holiday too.
No,
they used to call it Victoria Day.
No.
Okay.
Anyway, we have, well, what do we got today? Well, we have a very big story that came in skepticism that came out with the Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay hoax. We'll get to that in a bit. And what else we got? Regressive Left Files. Oh, yeah, we got a couple of good stories here. Yale college dean is placed on leave for reviewing a Chinese restaurant. And a rather racist University of Hawaii prof demands that her upward mobility increase just because of her race and not because of anything she ever did, and that all white dudes in math departments should just resign. In Islam, we have a story from the Linda Sarsour Paradise. Unmarried couple stoned to death in Mali for violating Islamic law. And one poor woman from Saudi Arabia trying to escape her family was intercepted in the Philippines and sent back against her will. A horrible story. And we have more from an atheist who painted Bible verse on the back of his truck, and Christians are all offended by it. That was the whole point. First, I do want to talk about this interview that I did with Corey Johnston of the Brainstorm podcast, and it was a very good interview. I thought I presented. Did I present my case well?
I think you did fine.
Did fine. So we were talking about social justice and why
it was a weird interview.
Anti. Yeah. Well, I'm not really anti-social justice. I'm just anti-stupidity. Yeah, that has that anti-postmodernist nonsense that is sort of seems to have seeped into it, as well as into academia in relevant social science fields. Not all social science. I posted something on Facebook that should be is social science redeemable, and somebody was, I can't remember who it was, a pretty cogent response. It's pretty much similar to my position. Not everything should be thrown out. I don't want to throw baby out with the bathwater. I mean, there's lots of good stuff that comes out of sociology in terms of demographics. How different demographics interact. But
I responded, and so did I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. We interviewed him, the guy from U of A. Who was
okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, his name escapes me.
Yeah, it escapes me at the moment right now. The former reformer king.
Yes.
So that was really interesting. Anyway, that was really good, and I supported this project because I think that there has to be some kind of a dialogue between the forces of evil, which are the social justice people, and the forces for good, which is me. Well, the interview went really well, I thought, but if you just left it there, just let the interview stand on its own merits, right? My answers are my answers, and people can agree or disagree, but nope. Corey, and he didn't. I'm not the only person he did this to. He added stuff at the end where, of course, none of us that were interviewed could possibly respond to. So we're going to talk about that. At first, I didn't want to talk about this, but anyway, it's there was a lot of stuff there. What stood out for you, folks?
I guess a bit of the framing I don't know. I sensed a bit of bias, I guess, right?
A bit.
Yeah.
A bit.
And I think what struck me was the comments after the fact when you weren't there to
that's what I'm talking
address
about.
those
That's
comments.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of unfair and dishonest. Like,
sleazy.
why not just say it at the time, right?
Yeah. I mean, just end things there and make a closing saying, thanks for, this discussion and move on. But I really think his ego got in the way.
present the challenging present those contexts during the interview.
But no, he had to go and basically be
context
condescending, and So let's just pick one here. What's the first one? Oh, here. Let's go with this. Oops, my volume is way down. I got to try that again. Let's try that again. Oops. There we go.
Black men. What was it? Black men commit almost half the violent crimes in the U.S. when the percentage of the population that they represent is very small. I think the number he said was 6%, but I think the number is actually closer to 13. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he's wrong. He had all the time in the world to look up these numbers. It's 6% black men comprise population in the United States, or that's the demographic. 13% is the total number of black people in the United States. Men and women.
Right.
And it's not almost half, it's actually over half of violent crime. Those are the Department of Justice statistics at the Bureau of Justice statistics. That is such a hard word to say. Why? Anyway. Statistics.
Bureau of Justice
statistics. I can't say it honestly. Black people in the United States. What the hell? Where did that come from? Women. Oh, I'm getting the feedback and stupid thing. Okay. Yeah. So, when you've got all the time in the world and you claim to be a skeptic, get the numbers right. I was doing that off the top of my head. Okay. And I have these numbers pretty much committed to memory, and yeah. But anyway, that was the first thing. That's a minor issue. We can go on to another one. Here's one.
I kind of feel like he strawmans the university cultures, but I don't want to attack his points on it too much.
So why did you say that? Why did you say that at all? Yeah, and I'm not. He presents that he's saying I strawman without any further, not even an argument, let alone evidence. No, I'm not strawmanning them. There's ample evidence. Just go to YouTube and watch stuff that's happening on university campuses today. I mean, is he saying that Berkeley, like what happened at UC Berkeley, is a straw man? That I'm saying that these people, I don't know. Berkeley's just one incident.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that a little later, I suppose, right?
Will we?
Huh? We have
no, not really.
Just regressive Left Files.
Yeah,
just not.
But we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about Berkeley.
No. The universities, the context more generally is what I was referring to.
Oh, yeah. So here's another one.
Something that he said in this about the when people say shut up and listen, and for him, that's enough. That's it. He's no longer interested. Ready to listen, then that's fine. And if you're not ready to listen, then that's also fine. You just don't have to be in those spaces. I think that that's fair. If you're not ready to listen, then maybe you shouldn't be in that space until you are.
Interesting framing. He's assuming you're not ready to listen.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with being ready to listen. It's about being told to shut up and listen because I'm white.
Well, to be told to shut up and listen in any context is impolite, and it's going to shut people down because nobody wants to be spoken to like that, just straight up.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with.
There's a way to deliver the message without,
without being racist about it.
Well, I wouldn't say shut up and listen is racist, but, contextually speaking.
Yes. I absolutely would say it's racist because they're not talking about black people or colored people of color. They're talking specifically to white people about that when they say that. Let's see. What else we got here? I'm going to save that one for last. Let's go to this one.
I think that part of this pushback on trigger warnings is a misunderstanding of the way that therapy works. You can't just have triggering content anywhere, and call it bad to prevent people from seeing that. Like, avoidance behavior is necessary in many ways until a person has processed the trauma until enough to deal with
evidence,
those
please.
Like immersion therapy or therapy, exposure therapy to triggers is not done out in the world.
No
it's
kidding.
Not done randomly.
I never said it was done out in the world. Anyway, that was all rationalization that was presented with. Sorry,
I don't understand.
Go ahead.
I didn't get to listen to the whole tape when you talked about trigger warnings, but I know if on my behalf, even just for allergies, it's up to me to avoid them. And then for triggers, if you're under that much duress, maybe you shouldn't go outside then. Then it's on you.
Yeah, it's the way he frames it. He's talking about people that require counseling as opposed to people that do not, that are being triggered over trivial things like
I'm not talking about snowflakes. No.
Right?
I am talking about people who need therapy.
Okay. Well, he certainly is, but
no, he isn't. No, he is talking about therapy. He is talking about people that need therapy.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. Exactly my point. Well, yeah. If you're in that stage of vulnerability and your treatment for, counseling and stuff like that, then yes, he should be avoiding, those kinds of things, right? So one would assume that if you're in that kind of trauma, that you wouldn't be taking a course that would.
Well, maybe, but
right?
There's actually evidence that people that have suffered trauma do better when they've been exposed to triggers, that they've been have reminders of their trauma. I'm going to read something here because I actually went to find out what psychologists, by his own admission, by the way, he's never listened to anybody in psychiatry or psychology about this. That should tell you something already. Here, this is Professor Metin Basoglu. I am totally butchering that name because it's Turkish, and I don't speak that language at all. The founder of trauma studies at the Institute of Psychiatry, King's College London, and he has this to say on trigger warnings. And quote, "An infinite number of situations can act as triggers, from characteristic smells, conversation, objects, and social situations to watching television, reading a newspaper, and listening to the news," unquote. So can one avoid triggers? And he says this, quote, "There would be no point. You cannot get a person to avoid triggers in their day-to-day lives. It would be impossible. The media should actually, quite the contrary, instead of encouraging a culture of avoidance, they should encourage exposure. Most trauma survivors avoid situations that remind them of the experience. Avoidance means helplessness, and helplessness means depression. That's not good. Exposure to trauma reminders provides an opportunity to gain control over them. This is the essence of the treatment that we're using to help trauma survivors." And by the way, it's happening out everywhere. So it does happen randomly. It involves encouraging the patient not to avoid reminders of trauma, but in fact to make a point of exposing themselves to reminders of trauma so that they can develop a tolerance. I liken it to a vaccination. You get a small dose of the virus so that the body can develop immunity towards it. Psychologically, it's the same phenomenon. And he went on to, he's published a paper in the Journal of Traumatic Stress in 2002 in volume 15, pages 269 to 276. And it was a study of carried out after the 1999 earthquake in Turkey, where many people died. And thousands of survivors were interviewed. Their recovery was monitored over a length of time, and it showed that unexpectedly that, this is a quote here, to our amazement, those that came across greater opportunities for exposure to trauma reminders recovered faster, unquote. So the experts, and I actually can't find an expert who says that, who actually endorses trigger warnings, which should tell you something. Mm-hmm. It's all the virtue signalers. I mean, who's calling for trigger warnings? It's virtue signalers.
Well, it's become so much of a joke now. 20 young people, teenagers, are making fun of it constantly on their Facebooks. Oh, triggered.
Yeah, and they should.
Joke.
I think at one time it did have a meaning, right? But again, we see this,
But it's trivialized.
Dilution of.
It's been trivialized. Yeah. It's.
And case in point, I could not eat rice forever after my parents fought when I was trying to eat it, because it always reminded me and gave me a stomachache. But eventually, I did start eating it again because I forced myself to. I like rice, so I eventually got over it.
Oh, cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
No, that's bad.
Well, I'm glad I don't associate it with that anymore. Now I can eat it without even thinking of my parents fighting anymore.
Yeah. But here's the one that you noticed. I know for sure you noticed, Chris. And here I go here.
Randy kind of dismissed the wage gap as evidence of systemic racism. And I think that this happens a lot. We get caught up in these formal logic type discussions when what we're doing is an informal type of argumentation, and it doesn't do us any good to say you can't do that. That's a logical fallacy. Dismissing the wage gap as evidence of the systemic racism is a mistake, even though it's technically a logical fallacy. We are not engaging in a formal debate. We are engaged in informal argumentation, and it can be a piece of the larger puzzle if the evidence supports it.
What do you think?
Yeah. It's very, very seldom that people actually engage in formal logic unless they're doing something like programming or something like that, right? Because formal logic is involves a syllogistic form where, for example, the truth of the premises guarantees the truth of the conclusion, hey? So this is like a formal structure of language. And most deductive reasoning as opposed to inductive. And it's very, very rarely that we reason deductively, right? We typically reason inductively. And so him bringing up that it's not a formal debate, it's an informal discussion, it doesn't make sense, right?
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? A logic fallacy is a logic fallacy.
But there's deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning, and there's fallacies that are common to both, right? But in deductive reasoning, the truth of the conclusion relies on the truth of the premises, and you can slot in any nonsense into these, like if A, then B, A, therefore B, right? You can slot any nonsense in there to substitute for A and B and come out with a nonsense conclusion, but it's still logically valid, right?
Yeah, no, but I don't think anybody's saying that racism doesn't happen. I'm certainly not saying that.
No, and the wage gap is also typically invoked to discuss sexism
or sexism. Not
racism,
and I don't say I'm not saying that sexism
both,
in the first place doesn't happen. I'm just saying that this is not because there are other possibilities, or you can have many factors, and which is actually the real case. You have many factors which contribute to these gaps. It's uncontrolled. That's the biggest problem. When I found that out, I was flabbergasted because I'd always thought the wage gap meant, for the same job, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it doesn't mean that at all. And when I found that out, I'm like, you can't derive anything from it. It's impossible. It's so complicated. You have to actually delve into the numbers. Like how much of a contribution each possible factor is making towards the gap, and just citing the wage gap is useless. You know, it doesn't mean that I say that racism doesn't happen. I'm just saying you can't use it to show that. Aye. He does. I'll give him one thing for, you know, a credit, sort of, and you'll see why I say sort of. Where is it?
But I would also say that you know, if you want to make the claim that racism exists, I think you'll agree with me on this too, right? Like that could be one of multiple studies that brings more robustness to the claim that systemic racism exists, right? So I don't think we're denying that it can if serve as evidence, but to properly do, I think you'd have to conduct it across different job types and weigh it out that way, right? You know, And I mean, like say you have a very dangerous job and you, I don't know, have a couple of years because you had a terrible accident or something, right? Like, it's a gap in your, just, you know, like I guess a maternity leave would be, right? So there's I guess, ways to factor in the ways people need time off and for what, right?
In this case, what's happening is that I agree that systemic racism, if it existed, or systemic sexism in the workplace, if it existed, could manifest itself in a pay wage gap. But the reverse is not necessarily true, and that is the problem. This is called affirming the consequent. It is illogical. It isn't. You can't do it. And whether you're talking informally or formally, I don't care. I'm gonna call it out every time. You can't do that. Sorry. You know, you have to show what factors go into that wage gap. If you don't, well, I mean, it's not evidence. It's actually a hypothesis. And yeah. So, last one.
Yeah, and
sorry. Go ahead.
No, wait. I'm still on this one.
You're still on this one? Okay.
Like when you have when people refer to a formal debate, they're not referring to the structure of the claims. They're referring to the structure of the event, I guess, right? You have your opening statement and your 15-minute rebuttals and blah, blah, blah kind of thing. That's a formal debate. Like your claims don't have anything to do with, unless you know, like I said, with the whole logic thing, right? Yeah,
that's a point. I mean, he's mixing up something here. What we mean by formal and informal, typically when we're talking about logic fallacies, a formal logic fallacy is a fallacy which is in the form of the argument itself. That's why it's called a formal one. It's not because you're wearing a tuxedo and a bow tie. Informal one is elsewhere, is everything else. So it's not a product of the form of the argument. Informal argument would be like an ad hominem. A formal one, which is this one, which is the affirming the consequent, is actually a fallacy with the formulation of the argument. So, Twyla?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Well, just wondering if you have something to say.
I just found it ironic because then he was a bit strawman-y there. He just said, "Oh, Randy's like this," and just dismissing this out of hand when actually you're just asking for evidence again.
Yeah, and he presents no evidence at all.
So then he's also a hypocrite. So it was ironic and hypocritical.
Yeah, and he did this actually worse to other people. So I'm not the only one he's done this to. He's interviewed a bunch of people from the Wayward Atheist podcast.
Did you know that going in?
Worse. Not the after interview comments. No, I knew that there were other people getting interviewed. Sure, I actually supported. This is a great idea. The implementation was just bad because what he did was with the comments. It's just leave it at the end and you would be fine. Then the interview stands on its own merits. You know, it stands or falls on its own merits. But he didn't do that.
Don't add your own. Yeah. Don't talk about strawman and then add your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's his ego. He needed to add something in the end because he needed to have stroke his own ego. Because I'm right. I know I'm right because social justice. No. Bad idea. And Corey, you didn't lose me as a friend on Facebook because of social justice. You lost me because you treated me shabbily. That's all there is to it. If I wanted to get you off Facebook, I would have done it a couple of years ago. There you go. One last thing, though. I'll give him the kudos for this one. Sort of.
The why do men getting sentenced to 63% longer sentences than women. I have two links there that talk about this. One from the HuffPo.
The HuffPo. This is his idea of a primary source.
Oh, dear.
He did not cite the original study. Corey, you're not a skeptic. Oh, my God. Google University does not make one a skeptic. I'm sorry, there's the laundry going on in the background. I know it. I know it's audible.
I'm sorry, what was the thing in the HuffPo?
Does it matter? I didn't see. He didn't say. He didn't
No.
say. He just cited HuffPo, and I'm like, oh God, that is just.
Okay, yeah.
Not a primary source.
Yeah, that is not a primary source. Primary source is the original paper, which I have actually looked at. Oh my God. Corey, you're not a skeptic. Quick calling. I mean, the ironic thing is he's putting this out on his podcast called The Hardcore Skeptic. I don't know. I mean, it just boggles the mind. But I mean, this is what I think of. No, I'm not going to do it. No. I'm not going to the drama. I promised I was not going to go to the drama.
Yeah.
Because I don't like it when I hear it. So I'm going to leave it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Anything else to say on that before we move on to much more fun?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Because originally I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I decided especially after listening to it a second time, I realized, holy crap, he was so condescending. Oh well. Okay, so we're moving on to I love this. This is the greatest. This is the best punk. This is Punk of the Year. Oh. Or Punk. I thought that article in The Guardian was Punk of the Decade, but nope. Sorry, this supersedes it. What was that article on? It was another social justice one. It was how Milo Yiannopoulos made him made him an extremist or something, or alt-right extremist or something. It was great. That was fantastic. This is even better. The conceptual penis. What an amazing punk. It's a Sokol-style hoax paper by Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay. They wrote under pseudonyms. I'm going to go back to the Sokol hoax. I'll just talk about that for a second. I'll read this. Alan Sokol, who is a physics professor at New York University, he published a fake paper in a journal dedicated to postmodern cultural studies called Social Text. I mean, you can guess how crappy that is, but I mean, if anything described as postmodern, I kind of tune out. I know that's bad, but just inductive reasoning thing. The experiment was designed to test, quote, a leading North American journal of cultural studies whose editorial collective includes such luminaries as Frederick Jameson and Andrew Ross, if they would publish an article liberally salted with nonsense, if A, it sounded good, and B, it flatters the editor's ideological preconceptions. So the article itself was, I love this, transgressing the boundaries towards a transformative hermeneutics of quantum gravity. If you can parse that, you're way smarter than I am. And it was published in 1996, and it argued that quantum gravity is a social and linguistic construct.
Did you say 1996?
1996.
Published in...
Yeah. So
Sokol,
21
sorry, okay,
Sokol. Yeah, Sokol. 21 years ago.
Yeah.
So now fast forward to the current year. Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay submit a paper to the journal Cogent Social Sciences, which is ironic, titled "The Conceptual Penis as a Social Construct." So Peter was in communication with me on Twitter, and he sent me a statement that they made. And they sought to demonstrate, quote, that a desire for a certain moral view of the world to be validated could overcome the critical assessment required for legitimate scholarship, unquote. And they suspected that, quote, gender studies is crippled academically by an overriding, almost religious belief that maleness is the root of all evil, unquote. It contains some wonderful gems. Here's one. machismo is essentially aggressive male pride, whereas braggadio is a quality of arrogant boastfulness. Wow, those are such rigorously defined terms that mean the same damn thing.
Oh my.
Climate change is driven by nothing more than it is by certain damaging themes in hypermasculinity that can be best understood via the dominant, rapacious approach to climate ecology identifiable with the conceptual penis. Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
Word salad.
Yeah, you can't read the whole thing. It's totally word salad. And, of course, it's blaming climate change on hypermasculinity and this crapola that's just invaded academia.
Wait. Tongue in cheek here. Just look at what Trump's doing to the states right now. That's a bit machismo.
Okay, you got a point there. You have a point. Absolutely. That's his braggadio was definitely responsible for getting him, elected.
And now he's destroying things that would, reduce climate change.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's a fair assessment.
And he's a male. Would have been the same. This wouldn't have worked if it was a female. So.
Oh. That's true. I've known people.
Lucky me.
No kidding. I've known people that are friends that have done that. He's a white male, and I'm like, oh, don't do that. You're actually insulting
in this
quite
case,
a big.
Because this is all crap. It works.
I'm a cracker dude. I don't think I should be compared. I should be lumped in with Donald Trump. That's what people do when they say, "Oh, you're a white male." Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Don't be.
And now by default, because he's going to wreck the climate change, the laws and everything that were in place. Now you're guilty by default too.
Yeah, I just put the. I'm going to read the abstract of this paper. This is as far as I'm going to go. The link. I think you can. The people in YouTube might be able to see the link I've got there. Yeah, they can. Here it is. Anatomical penises may exist, but as pre-operative transgendered women also have anatomical penises, the penis vis-a-vis maleness is an incoherent construct. We argue that the conceptual penis is better understood not as an anatomical organ, really, but as a social construct isomorphic to performative toxic masculinity. Through detailed post-structuralist discursive criticism and the example of climate change, this paper will challenge the prevailing and damaging social trope that penises are best understood as the male sex organ and reassign it to a more fitting role as a type of masculine performance.
What?
It's total gibberish.
My head hurts.
Yeah, well, that was the point.
Yeah.
It must have been absolutely hammered out of their skulls when they wrote this. It's only way.
But it's using the correct words and the correct syntax,
yeah,
and that
exactly.
kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever, and I highly recommend this on Twitter, if you follow new real peer review. There we go.
Yeah.
He posts this. I assume it's he. I think it is. He posts this stuff, and it's the same gibberish, and it hits all the. It's almost like the social sciences. The people in the social sciences have this feeling of insecurity, and they have to create these lofty, sciencey sounding words because hey, we're a real science too, right?
Well, then don't turn it into pseudoscience like this, guys.
I prefer objective evidence as opposed to the subjective. I'm not a big fan of qualitative research. I'm more into quantitative.
It has its place.
It does,
its place.
But it's
Absolutely.
easy to slide into the realm of the subjective.
Relativism and sophistry, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
get your data first and some kind of semblance of evidence, and then have a discussion. You can do whatever you want.
The problem is that there's some
on
things which can't be done in a pretty quantitative regime. It happens a lot in medical science. not medicine per se, but medical healthcare. It happens a lot because you're talking about how people feel about things. You can semi-quantitate a lot of that, but some things you just can't. It just depends on you pick the experimental design which best fits the hypothesis and how you can get data to support it. Which is saying that you do what you need to do.
and do something repeatable.
It should be repeatable. Absolutely.
And some of the stuff in the social sciences tends to be more theoretical than empirical, right? So it's philosophically argued and not empirically. Do you know what I mean? Like it's theoretical. Yeah.
And leave it in that realm and don't say this is the way it is for sure then.
Well, that's the problem when you're saying it. This is the way reality is. From a subjective standpoint, you're kind of crossing a boundary that you shouldn't be crossing.
Yeah.
But you found that article in Skeptic magazine written by Peter and James, the conceptual penis as a social contract thing, the social stuff where they announced the hoax.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, the whole thing. I love this quote here about manspreading. A complaint levied against men for sitting with their legs spread wide is akin to raping the empty space around him.
Yeah, see, they've got the syntax and the
God, that's funny.
Buzzwords correct, right?
They do.
That's part of the whole. It's a discourse. It's a way they use language to describe social phenomenon. Right?
That's right.
And it can alienate. It serves to alienate in a lot of cases, right?
Right. Exactly.
I guess we'll get into that. Well, we talked about that paper already.
Sokol's paper.
Yeah. In Hypatia.
Oh, in Hypatia. Oh, yeah. They didn't hit the right. And this is the thing. This is why they did it. I think that ties in Tuvel's paper in Hypatia and why she got lambasted for it. She shouldn't have been. I mean, geez, that's not academic discourse. I mean, you don't go attacking people. Oh, you didn't say the right thing. Oh, well, too bad.
Using the wrong words. But, I mean, her meaning was, she argued, I think, very coherently. And, if you accept the premises that she brought to bear to bring, to her argument, right? Like, we may disagree with it, but I think this is a philosophical argument.
Yeah, but
it was a mind experiment, and, she gets in trouble for, you're using the wrong words. She had a point.
She did have a point.
Considering.
I pointed out what I think is a flaw in her argument, but yeah, I would still just point it out.
Write your paper and submit it to Hypatia. That's how it should have been addressed. Yeah.
Maybe I should do that.
Go for it.
I'd be like, come at me, bring it on.
Make my day. Yeah.
Yeah, so that ties in with the whole thing, the moral position, right? So they were morally outraged in Tuvel's case because it didn't say the right things, and I was like, it was virtue signaling because these people.
Yeah, I was going to say, invoking offense. You offended, this.
You offended these other people, so I'm going to fight for them. Like Jesus
jump
Christ.
On the bandwagon.
Yeah, and nobody.
And they retracted the bloody thing too, and
they did.
Did they retract it, or?
I don't know if they retracted it. So
but they issued an apology, and
yes,
they considered
the journal.
Retracting, which is bloody ridiculous.
No, the journal should have stood up and said, "This is a philosophical argument."
Submit your paper. Paper.
That letter was not proper discourse.
Yeah.
Point out the flaws in the argument, or shut up.
Argue back.
Yeah,
like I said, submit your paper for peer review and have at her. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Terrible what happened to her. I mean, I feel really. I should actually send her a email of support because that was just terrible. Yeah.
I totally agree.
Now, of course, Peter and James, they're asking for it literally. Come on, bring it. And of course, it's happening. And let's see. Here, Dan Arel. Now, Dan Arel is this social justice, supposedly a journalist. I've never seen anything he's written, but except his tweets. And I'm blocked from viewing. I've never tweeted at the guy, and I'm still blocked.
On a list or what?
I don't know. It must be a bot that searches out bad things. People saying bad things about Dan. I mean, it's just a Steve Shives kind of move.
I wonder if they have the same list.
I wonder if they have the same
it's
software.
A bot, basically, like you said,
it's a bot, yeah.
Hey, I'm on that list of vaxxers that are troublemakers.
Good for you. I doubt it.
I don't know what list I'm on, but I certainly hope I'm on at least one.
I'm on the no-fly list. No, just kidding.
The no-fly list?
That's not one list I want to be on. No.
No.
I am not rowing to Iceland. So Dan Arel was on Twitter immediately. He was so offended. He totally conflates a couple of things here. He says, "Oh, hey, gender dysphoria exists and people kill themselves." I'm going to correct your spelling there, Dan. Kill themselves over it. So let's mock it by writing a fake paper and laughing at everyone. Like what?
No.
He totally misses the point. He's not
exactly.
They're not making fun of transgendered people. They're making
fun of the whole caustic masculinity and yada yada.
No. They're making fun of gender studies. That's what they're making fun of. Like the journal, the whole culture of what's the term? Political correctness. I guess that's probably it. And then he goes on to say, so apparently mocking trans people is a hoax now. What?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, now we're talking about straw man here, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He's totally strawmanning them. And he says of them, you're a fucking transphobic piece of human trash. It goes to some other link. I don't know where it goes. And another tweet. This shit is bigoted and disgusting. Did you read the paper? I'm so fucking embarrassed to have done any business with the parties involved. New atheism is cancer. Oh gosh.
God. So okay. I'd like him to elucidate the argument that they were actually making, because they weren't making an argument. They were stringing together
just a bunch of words.
Spew of nonsense. So if you articulate, let's hear exactly how this argument pans out. Like write down the premises, and conclusion, and then refute it, Dan. Because there's no argument there. It's just a bunch of word salad, and that's the fucking point.
And they're certainly not mocking trans people. My word. That is just how you come to that conclusion, Dan. I've got no idea. That's certainly
maybe he was
logical.
Fooled by it, and now that he knows it's a joke, he's offended.
Oh yeah, he has to find some handle, because these people have been exposed, right? They're the fact that people what do I want to say here, that you only have to have a particular moral position that agrees with those in power in these journals, the editors. As long as they agree with you, boom, there you go, you're published. Yeah,
that's sad.
I don't know. That depends on the quality of the journal.
This was supposedly a very high quality journal. It wasn't a bottom feeder.
Enough. Yeah.
So I think it just points out the low. I think what did those two guys say? Low standards. The academic standards. Yeah. Here the low level of critical assessment that's required for legitimate scholarship. I think that's really. The fact that we're 2 for 2 now, as far as we know, I mean, the Sokol paper and now this one, it doesn't really say anything good about what's going on in these fields.
Well, the thing is, they should do actual peer review and say, okay, what does this mean exactly? Then when they do publish
that's the problem.
Like you were saying.
The problem is that the postmodernists have grabbed hold of whole swaths of these positions in journals and in departments. It's very much more left-leaning now than it has been in the past.
They do need this exposure then, because this is not how it's supposed to work.
Yes, they do. I completely agree, and that was the whole point. That was the only point of this paper, to expose this. Yeah. It wasn't to mock anybody. It wasn't to, wreck anybody's careers. It was just making a point. and a good one, and it's freaking awesome. I mean, come on, this is awesome. I love
hilarious.
it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to ask Jamie.
Did you say you're going to have Peter on the show again? We've had him on in the past.
We've had him on in the past. I didn't want to ask. I don't know why. Okay. I'm really reticent to ask. I asked last time, and at that point he wasn't doing media stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that's changed or not. But I'll certainly ask Jamie. I mean, he's the other half of this dynamic duo.
Yeah. Ask them both if you can.
Yeah, sure. Well, I can try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's other stuff on this I haven't read. I'd read the Dan Arel stuff, but there's all sorts of people that came out of the woodwork. And oh well. Anyway, moving on. Are we done with that? I think we're done. Skeptic magazine. What did they? Yeah, that's, you can read the paper if you're brave, and have time to kill, or want something to put you to sleep at night. What do we got here? You want to go to the Regressive Left Files, or do we want to go to Islam, or the atheist that paints Bible verses on the back of his truck?
I would like to hear more about that.
The Bible verses? Okay.
Well, do we want to end on a happy note, or because that's kind of funny?
Well, there's the only sad, really, really the Islam ones are sad, but the other ones are pretty good. You want to do Islam now or something, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure. Yeah. So I don't know what we're going to call this seg. We got to have this as a regular seg. I don't want to call it Islam Watch, but we already got Catholic Watch. What else we got? So I'll think of something. Anyway, so this is about Dina Ali, who's a Saudi Arabian woman. She was fleeing away from her family. She's a 24-year-old Saudi woman, trying to get away to Australia. Unfortunately, there are connectors, like it's not a direct flight, and she had to change planes in the Philippines, in Manila, and was detained there. I cannot figure out how she was legally detained.
Well, the Philippines isn't exactly following any letters of the law lately.
They're pretty Islamic too, right? So it's not. There's a
getting worse.
Christian, getting worse. There's in the north there are the Islamic extremists who are trying to separate from the Philippines, have their own Sharia.
The president says you can just kill drug.
I know.
Anybody that's got drugs at random, and
yeah,
just the accusation, right? Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's scary.
It's amazing. It's a scary place. I wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
So she was being held in detention in a detention facility for women aged under 30. I guess they specify under 30. Oh, well, as a precaution. I don't understand this, and doesn't face any charges. This is after she was returned to Saudi Arabia. Basically, she's being held in protective custody. This is what it's being described as. Of course, that's, for all we know, is a total euphemism, and it's nothing of the kind.
Yeah, in heaven.
Yeah.
With their 72 virgins.
Yeah. So she was trying to get away
from... I
from...
don't mean to be so negative, but,
Islam is the problem. And, in Islamic extremism should clue you in as to what the cause of the problem is. Really, they're not extremists. They're fundamentalists. I was going
to say there's this contention with the word extremist because, like Sam Harris brings up that example, like if you become an extreme Janist, you're just going to avoid, walking on bugs and killing
you won't be able to breathe.
Right? Yeah, you'll be hardcore vegan and, yeah. So fundamentalist, I guess, better word.
Yeah, I think that is the better word, Islamic fundamentalist, because they are adhering to the fundamentals of their holy books. They take their religion seriously, as Sam Harris would put it.
Well, Islamism too is a political enactment of it, as opposed to religious, right? And so when you're enacting it politically on punishing people and holding them against their will and that kind of thing, I'd say that is trying to enact it legally, right?
Yeah. So Dina with the help of a Canadian tourist at the Manila airport, put over social media a video in which she said that she feared her family would kill her if she returned. But, the usual honor killing thing. And honestly, I looked today to see if there's any more stuff since late April, and I haven't seen anything, so we don't know what's happened since.
Yeah. It's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, the Saudi embassy in Manila called the case a family affair, quote unquote.
Huh.
And Dina had returned to Saudi Arabia with relatives. Well, I think it's the wrong verb tense. It should be had to been returned is the proper tense. I don't know what tense that is. I'm sure my wife would know. The authorities, it says here in Bloomberg, the authorities are trying to find, quote, appropriate solutions, unquote, to allow her to live a normal life. How do you live a normal life in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Screw that. This is Linda Sarsour's Islamic paradise. Oh, screw that. Slavery is still done, in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East in general. It's illegal, technically.
It baffles my mind how somebody like Sarsour can be regarded as a feminist
I don't understand
icon,
that.
I guess, right? It just blows me away. It just makes no sense.
Well, Linda Sarsour, this is my challenge to Linda Sarsour. You've asked women to wear the hijab in solidarity with Muslimas who wear the hijab and are treated badly. And we shouldn't treat them badly. They're a victim of their religion. I would never go up to a Muslim woman and pull her hijab off. That's assault. I will, however, criticize it in a generalized fashion. Keep it away from being personal. I will criticize the hell out of the hijab or especially the burqa or niqab.
And more because of the reason why they tell women to wear them.
Right. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things wrong with it. I mean, it doesn't say much of how men are thought of. We can't keep it in our pants, apparently, if we see women's hair. Oh, my. Terrible. So a little bit of ankle and, kaboom.
Well, and the onus being put on women. Well, yeah. The onus is put on women to be the, protector of morality.
It's blaming the victim. Right.
And
it's her fault. Yeah. It's her fault that she turned me on. No.
Yeah.
No. So this is my challenge to Linda Sarsour, and they've done the hijab thing in support of Muslim women in North America, in the Western world in general. How about taking off your hijab for a day publicly and loudly in support of the millions of women who cannot, by law, remove that little piece of cloth? It's a piece of cloth, after all. I mean, as one Muslim woman said, it's just a piece of cloth. No, it's not.
Tweet out my stealthy freedom too when you do that, right?
Yeah.
Tweet that out. And there is that sub-project too. I guess I shouldn't say sub-project, but was connected with it where they asked men to wear the hijab, or men were wearing the hijab in support of their wives and their sisters and mothers and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Mention those. Support those campaigns.
But she's just she's just into the power of dawah, Islamic apologetics. Yeah, she's just promoting all the good stuff in Sharia when there isn't much, and she's just a Muslim apologist. She always pushes the whole.
I have a problem with somebody adopting the best of their claims kind of thing, but when they start saying, "Oh, we need Sharia here," no. If you want to say Islam is a religion of peace and conduct yourself accordingly, hey, love you, welcome, right? But to try and say that we need Sharia law here. No.
We already have enough of it with the Christian Sharia. We're trying to overcome that, for goodness sakes. We don't need to add to it.
Well, now we've got these, ridiculous motions that are essentially blasphemy laws, or, have the capacity to become it. Right?
Right.
I'm talking about that.
M103, Motion 103.
Are you talking about the Islamophobia one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm also thinking of the one that Gad said and Peter, sorry. What's his
Jordan
name?
Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. Yeah. They, and that passed too, hey? That was kind of, mandating use of language.
Oh, don't want to show.
So, yeah.
That's...
Anyway, thought I'd mention that. Yeah, which is kind of scary. It's a slippery slope there. I don't mean to be alarmist, but that's,
some slippery slopes
you know?
are real,
Yeah.
People forget that. I mean, yes, it's a logical fallacy, but they can be real.
Sometimes.
It's just not necessarily so. All right. Should we move to another of the of Linda Sarsour's Islamic paradises. This is in The Guardian. Unmarried couple stoned to death in Mali for violating Islamic law. And apparently this is Islamists in parts of the country. They were driven out in 2013 with the help of the French. But they've started coming back in. And now these two people, these two very unfortunate people, were basically put into a couple of holes that were dug, and they were stoned to death by four people throwing rocks until they died. I mean, what a horrid way to die.
Yeah.
What is it with the Abrahamic religions? There's just have some of the most horrible ways of dying. Of course, the Dutch are actually
we all know
the worst.
Pain. The pain cleanses their sins. Yada yada.
Yeah.
Well, and it's doing them a kindness because they go into the afterlife, right?
Clean. Because of the pain.
Well, they probably go to hell, I suppose, right? But yeah, maybe, or that's how you avoid hell.
Well, they burn people to death to purify them, right?
Yeah. Honor is another big thing.
Honor killing.
Just like,
right.
Yeah, it's all in public too, and it's just man.
Well, and their justification, the fact that these people call themselves the pious kinds, and they can actually justify themselves into doing heinous acts like this. That's what always boggles my mind.
Yeah, the rationalizations, the mental gymnastics you have to go through to actually do something like this. Like you say, you have to rationalize that you're doing them a favor, that you're helping them.
Yeah. Like whatever that American imam or whatever said about after the slaughter in that bar.
Or Orlando.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing them a favor. We're doing them a kindness. Like, how fucking sick do you have to be to, like, do those kinds, like you say, mental gymnastics, right? That's messed up. Yeah.
It just amazes me how the left has aligned itself with Islam. Bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And Reza Aslan is, Reza Aslan's not typical.
And I was going to say, they're not aligning themselves with, Majid Nawaz and Ayaan Hirsi Ali and
they're anti-Muslim extremists.
And Sarah Hayden. Pardon?
They're anti-Islamic extremists.
Oh, yeah, of course, according to the SPLC, hey? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hope they go bankrupt. SPLC used to be a great organization. It's now a pale reflection of what it once was.
I used to cite them.
Ridiculous.
And now I'll never cite them again because they're not to be taken seriously.
I still cite their definition of... what is it that I keep citing their definition of? Oh, well. Anyway, it'll come up again.
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Oh, probably. No, that's not SPLC. Never mind.
Yeah. So that's in Mali. So now we got the sad stuff out of the way. We can go to... Oh, yeah, I love these. Here, I'm going to just get this up here. Now, where did I put the audio?
A dean at Yale
that?
University placed on leave after an online review. Screenshots show June Chu, dean of Pearson's College, left a Yelp review 7 months ago for a Japanese restaurant. In her review, she called other diners, quote, white trash. Then a slew of controversial remarks and other reviews surfaced. Chu apologized for her comments in an email to students and staff. Yale says she will not participate in school activities through the end of the semester.
Yeah. That's
a dean at Yale University placed on leave after an online.
I hate those websites that do that. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they. What if she was saying was true though? Maybe they were Trump voters.
Yeah, they were all wearing MAGA hats.
Yeah.
But this is not how you review a restaurant. This is not good. No.
Probably could have said they were all white wearing this and that, and left it up to the reader.
Yeah, it's some of the other stuff like, oh, this is not your typical greasy, trashy Chinese joint, and I love it. Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, I love this. I have learned a lot this semester about the power of words and about the accountability that we owe one another. My remarks were wrong. There are no two ways about it. Not only were they insensitive in matters related to class and race, they demean the values to which I hold myself and which I offer as a member of this community. That's a pretty good apology, sort of.
Did she get fired? Did you say, or suspended?
No, she's just kind of suspended.
Okay. Now I don't really, if I stand up for free speech, I don't think I can support that. Right.
Well,
what do you think?
It depends.
It was stupid.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah.
It depends.
But she didn't direct it at students or her colleagues or anything like that.
Or
it was just
did she represent the university?
Pardon me?
Did she represent the university while she was doing it? Like my view on freedom of speech, when you should not have your livelihood made in jeopardy because you hold an unpopular position with some of the following provisos, and that is that you're not representing the institution you work for or whatever company or whatever, and you're not a person who is public, like some idiot that says they let you grab them by the pussy.
Good example.
When you're a public person like that, these things come back to bite you because your character matters. In politics, your character
his
matters.
Character doesn't matter to anyone, and he's an
that's
absolute sideball, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you got a point there. It doesn't matter to other people, but I do think that the majority of people that voted for Trump didn't vote for him because of that. They voted in spite of that. So you have to be careful.
He's the man. He says what he thinks. He grabs pussies, and he should. That's what white trash Trumpers think.
But then he's also
he grabs bitches by the pussy. In fact, there were bitches wearing shirts saying "Grab me by the pussy, Trump."
That's true.
These people are insane.
Now, those I will call white trash. That's white trash. Okay. But you have a point. You absolutely have a point.
Racist. Gross and racist.
No, I can't call him that. Don't lump.
I'm calling you that.
Okay, well, you can lump me in with Faisal. That's fine. I'm happy to be lumped in with Faisal.
Oh, but if I get compared to Faisal, I'm quite honored.
Yeah,
so,
Faisal Al-Matar, we've had him on the podcast. He's a great guy.
In fact, he did call me gross and racist once, and I think I've had such an honor. Cool. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. We should have him on again.
Oh, I'm sure we probably could if.
Get a hold of him.
I'd love to have him on. Yeah.
So that's the Yale dean. The other one, this one, it's just okay. We're going to Hawaii. Where is it? Yeah, here we go. This is from Heat Street.
What did Hitchens say in one of his famous quotes? That's how far the something has reached, right? Like Hawaii. That's how far the tentacles have reached, or something like that. The poison has. Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
it's definitely here. So, University of Hawaii professor demands white men quit their jobs. Yeah, and she actually does. If you go to the letter she wrote to the American Mathematical Society, and she wrote a thing called "Get Out of the Way," which requested men. I don't know. See, there's this table here on race and gender that voted for Clinton and Trump. I have no idea what this has to do with getting positions in mathematical departments. I haven't got a clue. I think it's more anti-white bashing. Yeah, I love this. Remember, having white cis women run the world is no kind of solution. Oh my God. This woman is identity politics personified. I mean, this is just weird. But she really is trying to get people that are above her, who are white men, to quit so she can move up, basically. Well, to have more, she wants more of a diversity, but
she's just going to make she's going to make women look bad again.
Too late. You know, it's this idea that why would, you know, I'm all for diversity that occurs organically, but in and of itself, what does diversity have to offer math? Seriously. Algebra?
Did you say algebra? That's a good one.
No, don't laugh. It actually is a real thing.
What?
It's feminist
Trigger and
algebra. Feminist algebra. I kid you not. Look it up. The world
trigger. Okay, I have to
it's
make
bizarre.
One. Trigger.
Yeah, I'm triggered.
Trigonometry. Trigger and not.
Oh, triggered and oh, I love it. Yeah, triggered. We gotta save that one for one of our sketches. We have to actually work on that sketch this week.
Trigonometry, trigger anonymity.
Yeah, triggered anonymity. Yeah. Triggered anonymity. There it is. We got it. It almost sounds exactly like trigonometry. Yeah. So she's actually. Can you believe this? I'm just astounded that
it almost sounds like a troll.
How can it be not career suicide?
Yeah, now.
How is this not career suicide? And then, of course, she's going to blame all those white cis males
instead of acknowledging what she's done to herself.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like we've talked about two people tonight, Corey Johnston and this person, Piper Harn, that need to read the book. Mistakes were made, but not by me.
Oh.
Absolutely need to read this, because you know what? A little bit of self-critical analysis would help. Would do you wonders. Here it goes. What can universities do about... let's see. I'm going to read the whole paragraph. The Hawaii University professor continued her bizarre rant on the mathematics blog, claiming that while sexism is prevalent in society, it is, it's much easier to achieve equality at universities. And she writes this: what can universities do? Well, that's easier. Stop hiring white cis men, except as needed to retain people who are not white cis men, until the problem goes away. If you think this is a bad or unserious idea, your sexism/racism/transphobia is showing.
Wow.
Projection.
Okay, wow.
Okay,
projection.
This is what I found in academia. And men don't go on mat leave. They're able to, move up the ladder to teach and get their... There's less men that are kindergarten teachers simply because they're able to get their PhDs and everything they need to teach university levels and stuff.
Exactly. Well, and degrees, higher degrees to teach in high schools, which pay more than elementary schools. That's why there's a wage gap in teachers. I actually saw this. Somebody actually posted there's a wage gap in teachers' salaries between men and women. Yes, there is.
But not for the same
work. But not
work.
because sexism. Yes, exactly. It's not the same
Not
work.
for the same work. Kindergarten teachers get the same amount as kindergarten teachers. High school teachers get that same amount as high school. You're just going to find there's more women as kindergarten teachers because they're going to be more likely to take mat leave and then put their energy and money towards family than towards a degree to work at a university level.
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, there are some pay gap, pay wage differences that, you know, seem like they are real, but when you actually analyze them, this is why I dismiss the wage gap argument as being evidence. It's exactly
just purely
why, Corey,
saying that for any reason.
because when people see that between men and women to get paid, they automatically jump to sexism, and that's not the only possibility.
Yeah, I will acknowledge it. It is, you know, I think we all acknowledge that it is a
absolutely.
an explanatory
Absolutely.
factor for sure.
But you haven't
Because we don't
shown
want to, you know.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Yeah,
if you bring multiple studies to bear on a claim that, you know, sexism and racism exist, then, you know, you get this kind of, you know, multiple studies and that kind of thing. There, it adds more validity to that claim, right? But it doesn't mean that's the only factor, the only variable that explains the phenomenon.
The problem with, you have to control it. You have to actually control it properly. Like, actually look at the same jobs. I think we talked about this before. Cosmopolitan magazine, I think it was, they had that online thing where they'd sit a man and a woman down and they discuss the wage equity. and the one they showed, like, I don't know why they showed this. Turns out the woman was making $20,000 more than the man. And then they still went on talking about wage gaps. Like, what?
The black woman was making more than the white man too. Right?
Exactly. It's just like, and what's wrong with this picture?
No kidding. That was kind of shooting yourself in the ass example.
I couldn't believe. Well, if they were looking for honesty, yeah. But if you're kudos. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking to actually, you know, present an argument, you know, you might want to do a little editing. Yeah, it was so funny. I just killed myself laughing. It was terrible. So. Okay, and anyway, there were some comments on this thing at the blog that she wrote that just made me weep. I mean, they were just totally like 6 feet, you know, under with all this social justice nonsense. And you know, I tell you. It was really sad. You can go to that. It's at blogs.ams.org. You can go there and read the whole thing. And if you dare, I'm not gonna anymore because it's really stupid and racist and sexist. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just amazes me that
comments were shut down, and the ones that are there seem to be the ones that didn't get deleted. Shall we say? Yeah. Thanks for your interest. It says.
You see this projection, and this is a lot I see of these people doing. You know, the loudest voices seem to be projecting racism and sexism when they're the most racist and sexist people. It's amazing. I don't see just a lack of self-awareness. You know that, you know, look at all this rhetoric. This what's the word? Identity politics here going on. I mean, it's like cis women, cis white men, blah, blah, blah. It's just, this is what we have to stop.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah, and holy shit, she's in mathematics. Like, that's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, and she's actually a very intelligent person. I'm just not smart.
Yeah.
When it comes to this.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shoot yourself in the foot. Instead,
Easily,
what you can bring, what unique perspective.
Oh yeah, her
and
career's
how
all
you earned it,
over. No one's
and
going to
actually
want
just
her.
earn it and wait your turn.
What department would hire her? I mean, seriously.
After this.
After this, yeah. After this,
yeah.
This is career suicide, lady. Good job. We go into the.
Who knows?
The atheist. We go on to the atheist. What
did he do?
Where have I got it here?
Oh yeah.
Did I have it up, or do I just? I don't think I have it actually up.
I can send it to you.
I'm gonna. No, I got it. I just gotta.
Okay.
Grab it. Opposing views. Yeah, I actually have some. I edited audio, so I'm gonna put that up because this is Tom Hicks, and he has. There we go. Painted Bible verse on the tailgate of his truck and a bunch of other things. And it's hilarious because as an atheist, of course, I would be totally like, oh, what a fucker. What a misogynistic fucker. This tailgate is not aimed at us. It is aimed at the much larger demographic that surrounds him in Virginia, that being the Christian one. Here's the first clip I'm going to play.
You've been listening to the Legion of Reason coming to you
Wrong
from
one.
Calvary.
Let's try that again. That comes in a bit. Oops.
I put the scripture on there about 5 years ago.
Along with the verse from 1 Corinthians, Hicks painted on 3 crosses, the fish symbol, and read your Bible.
The reason I put this particular message on, I want people to read the Bible. I want them to see this message and say, is that true? It's a hateful, hateful piece of work, which Christians try to turn around, and they talk about love. Hopefully people will read it and learn for themselves. These preachers and priests and ministers, they're making stuff up.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I've seen pictures of it.
I'm sure I saw this. Yeah, me too. And people were thinking it was a Christian that was
exactly,
doing it, right?
And it's not.
Yeah.
Find out he
That
wasn't
is so
a Christian.
hilarious.
Problem is,
an atheist is just trying to bring awareness to what shit is in the Bible.
Oh, he could have picked even
That's
worse
amazing.
ones than that. He could have picked absolutely terrible ones, but he chose that one. But everybody's like, "Oh, we're all offended," and blah blah blah. And that's the point.
So it's like, you know what? I might replace I might replace those quotes with some other ones. Who's gonna double down, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
And what are they going to do? Tell them to order, get a court order to, take it off?
Yeah.
Scrape it off?
Yeah.
It's the Bible.
But then everybody has to take theirs off. That's awesome.
I think it's fantastic. I love this. We should invite him on.
We should.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that. I was thinking of sending him an email, and it sounds like so much fun. It sounds like a sense of humor. This guy's got to have a sense of humor. And I think we'll have him on. I'm going to try and ask him. And
you're not going to be able to look at him and tell him apart from a Christian.
Well, of course not. Yeah. It's interesting to hear the apologetics. The amazing mental gymnastics here. I'll play this.
Regardless of Hicks' reasons, Christians say the Bible isn't a book of hate.
There are parts of it that are offensive to people because not everybody wants to believe the gospel. They don't want to believe that Jesus came and died and rose again, but that is true.
As for the single verse Hicks chose,
the very person who wrote that passage of scripture in Corinthians also wrote in Ephesians that husbands are to love their wives just as Christ loved the church, which is an unconditional love, and it's a sacrificial love.
And it still says women should be silent. You notice how he avoids it? Said, but he also wrote this. That's kind of beside the point.
Exactly.
You can do both. They're not mutually exclusive.
Yep.
So there you go. You can love your wife, not yours, but mine. But I can also command her to be silent. And then I would be eating fists and also fighting off divorce lawyers.
What did you say? You'd be eating fists and fighting off what?
Divorce lawyers.
If he was loving other people's wives.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't be married very long. And I wouldn't want, of course I wouldn't want to do that. I mean, geez.
No.
So you see but people don't want to believe that Jesus, it still says women should be silent and you're a woman. So why are you talking?
And I'm sorry, but whenever people bring up, the resurrection of Jesus, I can't buy into the zombie stuff. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like once people go there, it's just like, I get it. It's a debate tactic and all that kind of stuff. But, oh my goodness, you believe in people rising from the dead. I'm
just
sorry, I can't take it. Well, as a metaphor, if you want to, make a metaphor out of it kind of thing. But if you want to say literally Jesus rose from the dead, then I don't get it.
You're crazy.
I'm out, I guess, right?
Well, particularly since how much a rot would take place in 3 days. I mean,
rigor mortis. I mean, it's just,
Was there worms crawling out of his eyes too? Blah.
Lich Jesus. I'm coming to save you.
We'll talk once
Lynn
I
falls
heal.
off and heal thyself, Jesus.
Maybe he did. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's good. We ended on an up note. I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to have next time. I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast that my wife went to Ghana as a volunteer nurse in Accra. No, not in Accra. It was a city outside of Accra. Accra is the capital and on the coast and where the major airport is. It's 5-hour drive from Accra, where she was, but it was apparently oppressively hot and humid there. But she has a lot of interesting stories to tell, and about religion as well. Because people asked her, "Do you believe in God?" And you think America, the religiosity of America is high? You ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. It's absolute. It must be hell to be an atheist in Ghana. And she was staying with a pastor. Yeah, that's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's not only like this blend of superstitious kind of beliefs that already existed, but there's the encroachment on the the Catholic Church. So you get this fusion of some pretty weird stuff and.
It's just like in the Caribbean where or anywhere.
Like
Ecuador.
Obea is that kind of fusion of witchcraft and Catholicism, right? Yeah.
You actually see it in the architecture in Ecuador. So a lot of Aztec symbology, and it's kind of interesting. I think we're going to talk with my wife next time, and it should be really good.
Yeah,
some of the stories are really, really, really interesting, and they'll show you why I love my wife. So that involve religion, and for somebody who doesn't like to rock the boat, she sure rocked the boat.
I think it's pretty obvious why you love your wife, Randy.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
She is awesome. So
and vice versa.
So I guess that's it for this May 22nd, and we had a good time. So I'm gonna go out and do some astro imaging, assuming it's not cloudy. I have no idea if it's cloudy right now or not.
Well, there's a weather warning for midweek.
Yeah, but that's
like what kind? Storm?
Well, lots of wind, lots of rain, snow to the west.
That's fine.
Don't say snow.
That's not tonight. I don't care.
No, Wednesday. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, so that is our show for today. And I'm going to kill the feed. Oh, I'm going to play the close.
Outro? Yeah. Do.
Hey, I can't because I shut down the soundboard. Okay, anyway, this is the Legion of Reason diversion coming to you from Calgary, Canada. Oh, and Red Deer. And so if you like us, tweet at Legion of Reason, all one word, of course. And we have a Facebook page. You can like us there and get to take a look at some of the stories that I put up. Not everything that I put on the Facebook page gets onto the podcast, so it's worth your while. And if you like this, spread it around.
And if you don't like it, spread it around too.
Yeah.
I'm always up for some challenges and stuff like that. Yeah, bring it on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't always agree.
I mean, we disagree amongst ourselves already, so
we don't always agree.
Which is healthy.
But but we have discourse. That's the thing. We don't
Yes.
just call each other names.
It's not like, you suck.
We're not always. I remember being condescending to you once, Chris, and I apologize.
Really? Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
What were you condescending about?
Oh, it was about the Ellen DeGeneres picture, and I said something that sounded condescending.
Oh, that was when it was the regressive of the week or whatever, right? That's okay.
No.
I think amongst the three of us, I'm probably the most regressive in that sense, right?
Well, you're the most charitable. Let's put it that way. You're more charitable. I guess in that case you were the most regressive because I was saying no.
Yeah.
that's not racism.
I thought it was hilarious because I was deemed the regressive.
Yeah,
of the
you
week
were the regressive.
Right? Yeah. No, I have a total. I have a sense of humor. If you want to be condescending to me, I'll just find an opportunity to be condescending right back to you. So there you go.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't mean to be. I meant to say something else.
No,
and
I didn't take it that way at all.
Yeah,
I didn't take it that way.
That was a long time ago, but it sticks in there because I feel bad about it.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. Over my head, and no offense taken.
I think at the time there was, but yeah, I heard it in your voice.
Oh no, I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I got the honor of being Regressive of the Week. But it was funny. Yeah, it's cool. Hey, I need my opinions challenged just like everybody else does.
Yeah, we still disagree on that one because, that's it.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
We have different.
I reacted like, oh my God, how can she do that? Right? Like it was.
No, because she didn't intend to. It was like she was just. Making a joke. It was the fastest guy on the planet, and that's all it was. You have to add racism to it. You can't, because it says more about the person who finds it racist.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. I hate to tell you, but that's not condescending. That's
a fair point. But I guess being acculturated as a North American, some of the stuff we're going to pick up on, and some like the other thing that I was talking about with that the Facebook friend who posted that it's offensive if he's called articulate and well spoken, right? I had no idea, right?
And I wouldn't associate with that person. I would not associate with that person. That is a bad person.
I just feel like I learned something. It's like,
That's
Karen
him.
and I both were like, I had no idea. But my mom was like, well, of course. Right?
That's him. That's all
she grew
him.
up in a different era, and she, like she did spend some time in the U.S. and that kind of thing when she was younger. So she's more perceptive to things that I, as a Canadian, am not going to be sensitive to because it's just not a part of my landscape, I guess, for lack of a better word, right?
So
but the Ellen thing, for some reason, it's like, that's not so cool. And I know it was innocent because, of course, she's not a racist, but it was just like, what has she done? Right? That's all.
How could you not see that?
I didn't. I think intent matters.
It just jumped out at me. Yeah. No, I don't begrudge her goodwill and
because people were calling her racist, and it's like, no, she's not a racist.
No.
In fact, anything, she was the opposite.
Taken as a racist thing without calling her a racist.
Well, I think
she was intending on being racist.
No, I don't think you can. No. Okay, I don't think you can. It's just a picture of her riding around being carried by the fastest man in the world. If you're going to add race to it, that's what you interpret out of it. That's what you take from it. Yeah. It's a Rorschach test.
Well, but it is a culture of racism, and white. Sure. I'm not going to use the word supremacy because
like gay chick riding on a black dude.
No, is that the power dynamic, right? Like this does exist in the past as a reality, right? So when I saw that picture, I'm just like, it just hit me.
I didn't see it at all.
But I would never attribute malice to Ellen because I just don't. She's just not. But
you're just wondering how the heck she couldn't see that before she did it.
Let's put it this way. I don't think she'll do it again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how can she? How can she? Okay, she did it by accident. She didn't realize that she was doing that.
Yeah.
How do you know that she can't do it again if she's going to do it by accident again?
Because the backlash.
But that's what I hated.
She won't
I hated that
riding
backlash.
A black guy.
That backlash was disgusting. Absolutely
it was disgusting. But if somebody had just gently pointed out, you know what, that might be a little bit offensive.
And nobody did. They just went for the throat. They took the least charitable. Yeah. They took the least charitable interpretation of that, and fuck them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is what people. And they should have, even if they found it racist, they should have taken the most charitable interpretation that she made a mistake, and they didn't.
Yes.
Fuck them.
Being a gay chick, she kind of understands.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the end of the podcast.
Yeah, really.
And I did it.
I go back in time and dig up old. I never had any. No, I didn't even take it as condescending whatsoever.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's good to know. All
right.
Not at all. 2 weeks.
Friends shooting the shit.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh yeah, that's what this podcast is. It's 3 friends. Yeah. 3 friends. There's. Are you? Who's this? Did you forget somebody?
Huh?
Who? What?
Did you forget Twyla? Two friends shooting the shit?
No, we said 3 friends.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard
said
2.
we're friends shooting the shit.
Oh, okay.
And you
Okay,
said,
I thought you were forgetting
we're
Twyla.
3 friends shooting the shit, of course. Yeah.
Poor Twyla.
Mostly on the same page, but sometimes we have our minor disagreements. That's awesome.
And in the meantime, we're going to have to work on that skit.
Mm-hmm.
I got ideas.
I'll practice my story time voice.
Yeah, you need to be able to. Somebody needs to be able to tell
to be
bedtime story.
Sweet and,
all right.
and, you know.
All right, that's it for the show. Good night, everybody. Yeah, bye-bye.